KayFabe Smark Podcast.
Welcome to the KayFabe Smark Podcast with Eric Todd and Brian Rampa, your smart mark source for news and opinions on the world of professional wrestling.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is the KayFabe Smark Podcast. This is October 2nd. This is episode 19. Eric, we're checking in on Clash of Champions, or as I like to call it, Crap of Champions. We'll dig into this and have some fun, but what is happening over in your world?
Not a whole lot. We're dealing with a super rainy bout here in southeast Michigan, so just trying to do my best to work around it, still get some grilling in, mowing the lawn, weed whacking, getting ready for fall, man.
Did you have hail hit you out there this early afternoon, I'd say, that 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock maybe?
It was a little earlier than that on our end, up here in Holly. I mean, we're not too far from each other, but
half
got
hour.
a little bit of hail, about 15 minutes there around lunchtime.
Yeah, that was crazy. It just my kids were running around. It's hailing. It's hailing. Does that mean it's going to snow soon? Maybe. I don't know. I can't tell you that.
I hope not.
Yeah. So, but we are here. We are digging into the Clash of Champions. And then we are going to get into, I think we got everything going smooth here now. Little technical difficulty kicking us off. Trying some new stuff. Hop on over to all the Facebook, social media, Instagram, all of that, TikTok, whatever. We'll try to reboot that. And once again, get over on YouTube. We're going to try and go live. We were trying that tonight, but just had too much going on and had some technical difficulties. So get over to YouTube, like, subscribe. We're going to post the videos up there. Make sure you get on over to Facebook, Instagram, the KayFabe Smark. Head on over to the KayFabe Smark, head on over to anchor.fm/the KayFabe Smark and leave us some voicemails, all that fun stuff. Leave us a rant. Just get mad and yell about wrestling. It does not matter to me. And then also go over to audibletrial.com/the KayFabe Smark. Grab yourself a free audiobook and 30-day free trial. Check that out. I would listen to some book about, or some podcast on there about the dark web yesterday or the other day. It was pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah, interesting to say the least. I still have not ventured into the dark web because I've heard way too many horror stories. I spend way too much time on Reddit.
The thing that I found interesting is this is off topic of wrestling, but we'll talk about it for a half second here. The Tor network, that is the essentially the Google Chrome web browser, Internet Explorer, Safari for the dark web, is called Tor, and actually was created by our government. And they released it to the public for a bunch of reasons, but nonetheless, and then people you can either do good or do bad. You know, the bad made famous. They talk about a lot of the good stuff that happens too, but so get on over there, check that out, audibletrial.com/the KayFabe Smark. Grab yourself a free audiobook.
Yeah, check out the
Sorry about that.
Audible, not the dark web. We're not.
Did I say that?
Going there.
Did I say check out the dark web?
No, you just talked about the dark web and Tor for a minute, and then you're like, yeah, so go check that out.
Oh, yeah, no.
So
Well,
I'll
I mean, you can
clarify.
check
We're
out the
not,
podcast.
endorsing that.
Check out the podcast on Audible. So, yeah. All right, well, so I've got a little piece of news before we kick things off. Interesting little thing. The tattoo artist that did the tattoos, the famous dirty arms of old Randy Orton.
Oh, yeah. All skull candy.
Is suing WWE and 2K Sports for the tattoo being used in the new video game WWE Battlegrounds, that it is his intellectual property and that he has the rights to it and that he was not paid for his tattoos being used in a commercial setting. Is that not
I'm not a lawyer, but that sounds like a load of horse shit to me.
It sounds a little wackadoodle to me, too. I'm not sure how all that works, but I would think once I buy a tattoo, I've now bought the property, and it is my tattoo. But
Right, because where does it end? You know, tattoo artists can start suing people all the time for being on TV or being on the internet or doing a YouTube video and getting some super chats.
I
So like,
I think it's a cheap grab at trying to make a few bucks. I guess something like this happened with the 2K for a basketball game a little bit back, and it got thrown out essentially.
yeah, and that's where this is going. So
Yeah,
he
that's where
gets
this
to
is going.
eat a bag of dicks.
Eat a bag of dicks. I thought that was interesting enough to mention for about 30 seconds here on the podcast as we kick things off to get your brains thinking.
Yeah, definitely. It's a weird thing. It is wrestling related, and
it's a noggin scratcher, to
but
say
yeah.
the least. Well, we're just gonna dive right into the Clash of Champions.
Yeah, Clash of Champions, and you're gonna be surprised at this, Brian. I was pleasantly surprised at this.
I didn't hate it. Where I get mad with these things is that they put on the aspect of being larger than life. That was always the WWE's thing, right? So when there was like the big 4 or 5, right? And so when
Right.
those things came around, it was like you were just like, oh my God, it's SummerSlam, WrestleMania, whatever it is. And now, being so and from one time, what was it after SummerSlam? They had one back to back, and then it was only like 3 weeks later.
It was fuck. I don't even remember what the first one was. Then there was like Revenge or Second Chance or some shit the very next week, and
Yes,
they're definitely overdoing it.
yeah. So I don't know, but they just you get washed, and there's so much happening. So there were some good matches, yes, but it just we'll dig into it. So we're just gonna kick it off with the beginning here. You had in the pre-show. Do you want? I know you probably didn't catch the pre-show, but we can.
I did not catch the pre-show, so yeah, if you want to do that rundown, I will give my sorely opinion.
I didn't really watch it either. I watched the highlights as I started it late, and that's my MO in there because the pre-shows are always in the pre-show, so I'm not gonna fast forward through like 4 hours of pre-show to find one match.
Right.
So that's the part that goes crazy in there. You had Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura taking on the Lucha House Party and for the WWE Tag Team Championship. So you had Cesaro and Shinsuke retain, and there you go. I don't know much about the match. I just know they won, and it happened, and they put it on the pre-show. I'm not sure. Do you think that this is a burial of the Tag Team Championship, or do you think it is something to draw people in? Because I believe the pre-show is given away on that free version of the network you can get involved with now.
That's what I would like to think, is that it's almost like a badge of honor. Like, we're selecting you guys to bring people into this. That's what I would like to think. But we also know the WWE, and we also know they don't give a flying shit about the tag team division.
Yeah, so there's that. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it either. I'm kind of lost on what they're doing with it.
Yeah, I could think of a match or two on the actual card that would have been better suited for a tag team match involving Nakamura and Cesaro.
Right. So we've got Cesaro, Shinsuke defeating Lucha House Party, retaining their titles, and there we go. We kick off the actual pay-per-view with a triple threat ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. This had the duplicate titles all over it. This had the Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon feel to it with the 2 titles because technically Sammy never lost it. He was just stripped of it or told to lose it because I forget what they put down in the storyline, but basically I think because of COVID and he was not traveling up and from Canada back and forth was I'm going to guess the main reason, but I'm not positive on that.
Yeah, my son sat through this show, a good chunk of it with me, and that's pretty much you sounded like me trying to explain it to him. I'm like, yeah, so this is the gist of it. Why there's actual 2 physical belts, I don't understand. It seems like they would have got one back from Sammy instead of pressing up a new one. Yeah, I don't know. But there's 2 belts.
I think it was just the gimmick of having 2 belts. They used a replica to get in there and say that Sammy kept his at home in Canada, and they just went about their way of starting a new carrying the title on after they, quote, stripped him of it. But we had Sami Zayn, Jeff Hardy, and AJ Styles in a triple threat ladder match. How'd you feel on this one?
So with these three guys in there, AJ Styles being a tremendous veteran, Jeff Hardy being a tremendous veteran, Sami Zayn is a great talent. My only complaint on this is that a lot of times it seemed like their timing was way off. Especially with, I don't know if AJ was the problem or Sami Zayn's the problem, but seemed like there was more than one or two times where somebody's standing at the top of the ladder and they could have just reached up and the match would have been over, but they're sitting around waiting for somebody to come tackle the ladder. And I was just like, ugh, that kind of took me out of it.
Yeah, those will do it. Though, how did you feel about? I don't know if there's anything else, but the part that just definitely stands out in my head is Sami Zayn and the handcuffs.
Yeah, I mean, we're jumping to the end there.
I don't know if there's anything in between. I mean, you had a lot of ladder match stuff. You had Jeff Hardy taking a swanton dive onto some ladders and a bridge. You knew that was coming.
Right. So, well, Sami Zayn sells his ass off. I mean, that's no news to anybody, but there was one of the many ladder bumps in this match. There was a ladder set up in the corner, and Sami Zayn got Irish whipped into it, flipped, bounced off of it, bounced off the rope, just like a goddamn pinball. And I was buying it. I was buying how well Sami Zayn sells.
Well, I think worked good was he had three guys within the same, not necessarily caliber, but you had three guys within the same size range. You had three guys working together that can work off of each other. It wasn't like you had these giant. You didn't have a Kane in the ring with this ladder match, and then a Sami Zayn. These two different size guys. So you had, you know what I'm saying? These guys, all three of them could literally physically beat each other up. So you can buy this.
Right. This kind of brought me back a few years to like the Edge and Christian Hardy Boys type, where they're all similar size, similar styles, and whatnot. But I did really show my age telling my son, I'm like, you see Jeff Hardy there? This is before he did the 20-foot swanton. I was like, when I was your age, I go, seeing Jeff Hardy in a ladder match was just amazing.
Shut up. Yeah. Shut the phone off. I'm watching this match.
It was the highlight of the night to see the Hardy Boys in a ladder match.
Right.
I go, he's in his mid-40s now, and he can still do some shit, i.e. that 20-foot swanton. But, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. It did move a little slow at times, and then we got to the handcuff spot.
I'm not sure how I feel about the handcuff spot.
I mean, it was creative. You can't argue that one with the whole Sami Zayn handcuffing Jeff Hardy's gauged earlobe, handcuffing it to a ladder.
Which is funny because Jeff usually wrestles with like those silicone plugs in.
Oh, and this was the night he chose not to wear his plugs.
He didn't wear plugs like that on Sunday night. So then he grabbed those out, and I just thought it was pretty funny that he put those through there. I thought they might be some type of gimmick that it was going to look like that Jeff just pulled it through his ear or something, but they didn't get quite that creative.
Yeah, I was sitting there trying to speculate on what was going to happen. I go, you see, they're not putting the camera on him, so what they're going to do is have someone come unlock the handcuffs and then just spray blood all over his face or something. No, they just had him carry around the ladder like he was goddamn a fucking snail.
Which that works.
Carrying his house with him.
Carrying his house with him. Which that works for me. It wasn't so cheesy. It wasn't like the eyeball removal type that they had with Rey Mysterio and Seth.
Right. It wasn't quite that cheesy. But I just felt it could have been, the whole handcuff thing could have been cleaner. AJ Styles and Sami Zayn being handcuffed together, where you can clearly see that the handcuff was barely clicked and either one of them could just pull their hand out at any moment.
Yeah.
So it was just could have been cleaner. I thought it was pretty funny again, Sami Zayn just being that sneaky heel fucker, pulling out the key, unlocking it, and locking AJ right to the ladder.
Yeah. I thought it was a pretty good match all around, actually, for opening match. But then, these guys went at it, and they took some pretty good bumps, and then, yeah.
And I guess I'll point out that the ladder bumps, if you compare this to a NXT ladder match, it was night and day. WWE had this one over NXT because the ladders didn't really have to be set up. These weren't contrived. Um, m- these weren't contrived spots.
Yes.
Everything flowed rather naturally. You didn't have guys standing around. You didn't have guys moving ladders to their marks. So
I
as
think
far as a ladder match goes, besides moving a little slow, it was a good way to kick off the show.
I think that the part that helped them a lot was that they only had 3 guys instead of trying to put 5 and keep 5 guys busy, 6 guys busy.
Yeah, without having one of them lay on the floor for 20 minutes.
Take that outside of the ring nap where they just lay there, do till the ref walks by, kicks him in the thigh, and says, "Your turn, get in." You're in, tag. So you had Sami Zayn defeating and retaining, becoming the new, I don't know, whatever he is.
Whatever he wants to call it. I'm sure in his eyes he's retaining the title, but it's official. He's undisputed.
Yes, the undisputed.
As the Intercontinental Champion.
The IC champ. Man, that was the belt back in the day. I wish they'd give it a little more clout. It was like that was your stepping stone. You get through the IC, and after you dropped it, if you were the guy with it, you're looking at a guy that's moving on to the World Championship. And it's not quite so much like that anymore. They just keep it kind of that lower mid-card. It's kind of for guys on the way down from going for the heavyweight championship or the world title.
If we haven't talked about it on the show, we've definitely talked about it in our personal lives that, gone are the days where Macho Man or Ultimate Warrior were considered an IC champion. Guys just barely scraping that ceiling of being the world champion. Those days are long gone.
Yeah, it's a mid-card title at best. All right, we'll move along, I guess, and chat about the next match in line. A real crowd pleaser. Asuka taking on Zelina Vega. Finally putting Zelina Vega in the ring. She's been so much as a valet the last several months, weeks, years, whatever it's been. Eternity.
I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say about this match. My
Well,
finger may have bounced off the fast-forward button once or twice.
The whole match was only listed here as 7 minutes and 5 seconds, so we can't talk. If we're only going to break down, if it took us 8 minutes here to break down a 26-minute ladder match, Zelina Vega and Asuka on a 7-minute match get Asuka retained.
Yeah, Asuka wins with the Asuka lock. The match itself wasn't too bad. Zelina Vega worked well with Asuka, and but
I believe they kept it short, and that's why it worked well. But it's not a bad thing that they kept it short, and you can earn those minutes in the ring and get tighter and tighter. So you put her in with 7 minutes. You let Asuka do the dance. You follow along. How can you go wrong?
Yeah, Zelina getting the heel heat at the end there after her loss. Asuka reaches her hand out for a handshake, show her good sportsmanship. Zelina instead opts to bow in a Japanese traditional sign of respect. Asuka bows back, gets a boot to the belly.
Boot to the belly. That's what you get for bowing back. Never bow down. All right. Anything else on this one? Or I don't have much on it. It just happened and it existed for me.
Just at the end. Zelina dips out after kicking Asuka in the gut. Asuka rages around the ring for a few minutes and then cuts about a 30-40 second promo in Japanese. And my curiosity got the best of me. I paused it.
Did you open up the new Translate
Googling
app on the iPhone? They got the new Translate app on there on the iOS updates. You could have just
Oh, I tried it. It wouldn't pick up.
Oh, it wouldn't.
I held it right next to the speaker of my sound bar, put it in Japanese to English, and it wouldn't pick up anything. But when I put it to my stupid face and start speaking Spanish, it picked up all my Spanish perfectly and translated it to English. So I don't know. Maybe Asuka was just yelling and ranting and raving and gibberish and a little too much for the Translate app to pick it up.
Could you figure anything out?
Couldn't find it on Google.
Nothing.
No stories on what she actually said.
Son
and
of
the
a
Translate
bitch.
app was no help.
Well, technology foiled us again. All right, we'll move on here. Bobby Lashley with MVP and Shelton Benjamin taking on Apollo Crews with Ricochet. These are on the outside here. So it's Bobby Lashley and Apollo Crews going at it here. because these are all 4 championships. This is Clash of Champions. So the Raw
Is
Women's
the US
Champion.
title?
This was for the U.S. title, yes. Bobby Lashley taking on Apollo Crews. I'm digging the new Bobby Lashley. I didn't care for Bobby Lashley. I haven't cared for Bobby Lashley ever. Never once have I gave 2 poops about him. So
Did you give Bobby Ashley the reverse pants and panties treatment?
I think so. He went from boy shorts to pants, and he's skyrocketing right to the top.
That doesn't happen very often.
No.
Bobby Lashley breaking the mold.
You know what it is I think we're actually seeing Bobby Lashley. You're getting a little more truer sense. He's not acting so much, or maybe his acting's gotten better. Not sure which way it's going, but clearly the Lana shit was garbage.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
He didn't know what he was doing in there. He was trying to be like Val Venus. Like none of it just clicked. And then when he came back originally, he was just so babyface when he was like had that I don't know if you remember, there's an episode of Raw, so I highly doubt you saw it, but it was he had like the military thing set up, and I don't know, but he was just like, hey, I'm just Captain America here, and he was just super
I'm Bobby.
Yeah, and it was like, ugh. And this you kind of get a little attitude out of Bobby. These guys rolling together has an evolution feel, a 4 horsemen feel. They just kind of walk around like they're better than everybody. And, well, they kind of are at this point.
They are the Hurt Business, and they're spreading the news and spreading the business.
Spreading the business. Give them the business.
MVP is a great heel manager, man. With the taunting in Apollo's face, I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised. I haven't watched too much Raw. I haven't watched too much main WWE programming, so I haven't seen much of MVP as a manager, besides him cutting a promo here and there. But during the in-ring action, I loved him.
Oh, yeah. MVP definitely has the gift of gab. He's not shy to go above and beyond and be dialed up to 11. So he gets out there. He's great. He's great. His in-ring work these days, well, he's not old, but he's no spring chicken either. So he can get in there every now and then. But his spot right now is being on the outside of the ring. His spot is cutting promos because he can talk. Bobby Lashley's never been the greatest talker. He can hold his own, but he needs some help. Same thing goes with Shelton Benjamin. Shelton's good. Shelton Benjamin is a 100% pure athlete.
Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley are both in their mid-40s, too. We have to remember that. And both of them are just still amazing.
Yes, in amazing shape.
Probably the best performance I've seen out of Bobby Lashley in a while.
They are in amazing shape. But they're in their stick skills.
Yeah,
aren't
those
quite
never
there.
Picked up. But 20 years in the business.
but MVP has but MVP has that covered for him. So I think they're all in with this Hurt Business thing, and it is gonna go right to the top. But what do you think about the match? What was your highs and lows? What made you mad? What made you want to explain something to your son and go?
All I explained to him is that this is what a match should look like.
Yeah.
Both guys accentuated their strength. Because they're both fucking monsters. They're both athletic as all hell. You got to see a good show of athleticism. Fundamentals in the ring, hitting the ropes, just up and downs, back and forths, getting heat. These guys this was wrestling 101, and the pace was good, and I was happy with the entire match. These guys just put on a clinic.
And I was happy.
I don't get too happy during WWE events.
No, Apollo Crews, we spoke back. We go back into the archives and over at anchor.fm/thekayfabesmark Smark and all your podcast platforms there. You can go back and listen to things I've said. And I've stated that I didn't know what to think of Apollo Crews. As an in-ring performer, as an athlete, the guy's on point. He's in great shape, and he can wrestle. He can move. But I didn't know who Apollo Crews was. And that's what I need in wrestling. I need, like, the story. Like, I'm into the story. Like, there's two types of wrestling watchers. There's like the guys that can watch the match, does badass match, and then there's the guys that need the story, and then you got to have a little bit, we all intersect there in the center. I'm definitely the storyline. Who is it? What am I watching? And why do I care about this person? And I'm starting to build that with Apollo Crews.
Yeah, I still, to this day, I couldn't tell you one personal thing about Apollo Crews or what he's done backstage or anything, because there's nothing to him that pops out to me. But once he enters that ring, especially with a guy like Bobby Lashley, it's all over, man. That guy's got talent.
Boy's got talent. I agree with you, and he's growing on me, and I'm a big fan.
And Bobby Lashley wins with the Hurt Lock. Made old Apollo tap.
Tap, tap, taparoo. My screen went blank here, so I got to get my notes back up. Apologize, people. What was the next match, Eric, as I try to get my screen back up?
Next match was Garza and Andrade versus the Street Profits for the tag team championships.
I can't, and we can go back, and I've stated this. I'm going to state it until they go away. I do not like Andrade. I do not like Angel Garza. They bore me. Oof. I don't like them.
They bore me to death.
Street Profits, you can talk all the trash you want about them. People can talk about them all they want. They can talk. They can entertain. The wrestling may not be amazing. You got to give it to Montez Ford on some of the heights that he can jump into his frog splashes and such, and his dives that he'll do. But they entertain me. Those two over there, Andrade and Garza, they don't entertain nobody. If they do, I don't get it, man.
Right, Private Party definitely have the
Private Party.
Shit.
Yes.
That was a legitimate mistake. My bad.
Street Profits.
The Street Profits. Definitely have the gift of gab. They can entertain their asses off.
100.
Watching them in the ring, though, it's just, I don't know, always so set up and just seems like they're looking for their next spot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It may be their greenness. They need to work on blending it a little bit. And Garza and Andrade, they were solid workers, but there are another ones that just when I see them on TV, I don't want to watch them.
Don't care.
I can't tell you what it is.
It doesn't matter to me.
I don't care.
Do not care. I'm with you 100%. This was, again, we'll go back to the wrestling, was what it was. This match was for the, what do we at here? The Raw Tag Team Championship, as the SmackDown Tag Team Championships were defended earlier in the pre-show. So this is the Raw Tag Team Championship. Street Profits, Andrade and Angel Garza.
There's way too many championships for me to keep track of.
Well, yeah, you figure you look at this, there was 8 of them because they were all defended.
Yeah, this is insane. And then you mix NXT into it, and there's like 12 more belts.
Yeah.
Everybody in WWE's a fucking champion.
Everybody gets a championship. You get a champion. You get a championship. This tag team match, for what it was worth, was what it was worth.
It wasn't terrible.
Wasn't terrible.
I'll give it that.
No.
It was solid. Like I said, Street Profits seem to be, really wanting to get their spots in, but that's their gimmick. They're high flyers. They're flashy. They want to get their spots in. But they did work pretty well, especially with the hot tags. When it was time to get a hot tag, the boys came in houses of fire, man.
Montez can hit them hot tags. He comes in, string bean, looking like Juicy J from 3-6 Mafia, and he is just doing bombs and dives and just giving it all the height in the world, and he's full of energy. But this match really gets buried, I think, by the ending.
I don't know. I'm trying to still figure that out because it was such a bad ending. And if this is part of the storyline, it is incredibly cheap to use a missed kick out as a storyline. I think it was just a flub on the referee's part.
I'm leaning towards a flub on the referee's part. I'm leaning towards that. You see a very surprised look by Dawkins as he was the one giving the pin when it hit. And then I think he just had like a what the hell is happening, and they had to go with it. There was no option. He had hit it. And then
That
if
was
you
an
watch,
extremely clean kick out, and his shoulder was never on the mat to begin with. So the fact that it was even a count was ridiculous.
Eric's got the case of the hiccups over there. So if you go back and rewatch it, you see the ref instantly like he calls it, points at them. They announce he's champion. He does a finger to the earpiece. He comes back. I think they just had to. I'm going with it. Looked to me like a botch. There was a few little things. It could have all been great acting. Maybe they got me. I hope they got me. I like to be got.
Well, I think either way they're going to turn it into some sort of storyline just to milk another match out of these guys.
Yeah, they got to. So we'll see what happens. The Street Profits retain and stay your Raw Tag Team Champions.
Next on our agenda, we got old Bailey coming out to cut her promo. And because I don't watch much WWE, it was just kind of crazy to me to see Bailey refer to herself as a role model so much. And I think there's like role model on her pants or something. And it's Britt Baker's gimmick.
Yeah.
Britt Baker's been calling herself a role model for a long time.
Yeah,
so
since she blew out her knee.
I know it's kind of a very generalized thing to say to be a heel and call yourself a role model, but it just seems a little too close to home with these two, with their similar looks, and
yeah, it is.
I don't know.
You could have went with anything else, right? Something along the same lines, but
you're just a really bitchy girl on TV. And you just go with the opposite route and say, I'm the role model.
Right. Yeah, that's...
Let Britt Baker fuck it up.
Let Britt Baker fuck it up. So Bailey comes out. She's ranting. She says, count it. Nobody's coming. I'm the champion. And, yeah, there you go. And Asuka picks up and comes out for her challenge.
Yeah, instead of getting the SmackDown Championship match, we get another Asuka match. Oh, Asuka loves having two matches in one night. You think she gets paid for both of them?
Oh, yeah. Just Mick Foley collected 3 checks at Royal Rumble when he was Cactus Jack, Mankind, and Dude Love.
That's a good point.
They wrote him 3 checks.
Oh, Asuka owes my bookie some money or something.
Yeah.
She's out there just hustling, working every match she can.
I got to get out there and work it off. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I forget why we did not have a SmackDown Championship match. Do you remember why, Eric? Or should we take 2 seconds here while we're chatting and look it up?
I think we should look it up. I don't know if she said something about an injury.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was supposed to be.
Fuck, if I could remember who it was. It might help. But yeah, it just seemed kind of
it was
kind of put together last minute there.
Yeah, superstars, missing Clash of Champions. Yeah. Oh yeah, SmackDown champion Bailey was supposed to defend the title against Nikki Cross. That's right. However, the news of Nikki Cross not being available was already making its rounds. Blah blah blah. Yes, that is correct. Nikki Cross was supposed to be there. She couldn't make it for whatever reasons, and so they didn't have a match for her. She put out an open match, and then Asuka came out. I wasn't sure. I didn't feel they were going to do anything with the belts or with, put Asuka 2 belts. Oh, all right. That was new and interesting, so we got a little notification there. We'll make sure we close that.
Go ahead and silence those.
We're working without a net here, people. Things happen. So, yeah. Asuka came out. I didn't see Asuka getting another belt on this pay-per-view. This would have been SummerSlam.
Especially on this pay-per-view, but Asuka's not a 2-belt champion. She don't have the gift of gab we saw by her Japanese promo earlier in the night.
Yeah, if this would have been Survivor Series or something like that, maybe I'd have bought it and been like, well, maybe do something wacky here. I think they could have skipped the whole Asuka thing and just went to Sasha Banks running in from behind and clocking her with a chair.
Yeah, that chair shot was nice too, to the back. It was loud.
Yeah, I just think they could have skipped the whole thing of having Asuka come out. They could have had Sasha come out and just started hitting each other with a chair and get the whole thing thrown out before it's a match. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you just charge her from behind and beat her up? I didn't get the whole interlude of Asuka thing to waste 3 minutes and 45 seconds and then get beat up by Sasha for a few minutes.
Maybe it was just kind of a last ditch effort of getting a little more praise on Asuka, because technically she did beat Bailey. She came out a house of fire, and Bailey had to cheat and hit her in the gut with a stomach to win. Wait, hit her in the gut with a chair. Maybe we should start taking 2 takes to do these things.
No way. It's too much fun. All right. So that happened. Where you at? Are you Team Bailey or are you Team Sasha? Who you rooting for these days?
Well, even though she stole the role model gimmick, I'm still Team Bailey. I don't know. Look at my list of ex-girlfriends, and you see that I love me a mouthy, mean bitch.
Got a Karen hairdo.
Oh, that hair's got to go, man. Switch Bailey to shorts and then grow your hair back.
Oh, yeah, you're starting the petition for Bailey in shorts, aren't you?
I mean, she got a booty on her.
She got Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, ambulance match for the WWE Championship. That's the they flip-flop. That's the Raw Championship now. It used they went and moved them around, so I forgot about that. I get them confused. Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton for the WWE Championship in an ambulance match. I haven't seen an ambulance match since John Cena and Ryback had one back in like 2010.
Oh, God. Speaking of Ryback, he's been running his mouth all over the internet. He's at the point now where he's not wishing death on Vince McMahon, but he said the world will be a better place once Vince dies. Ryback cannot let go of a grudge, can he?
He cannot. I never cared for him either. So he was one of those guys that once he left, I was like, meh. Like, who cares?
That guy, man, he's just a joke. So yeah, on this little rant that he was on, pretty much says the world would be better without Vince. Somebody asked him if Triple H would do a better job running the company. Says Paul couldn't do a better job of anything and that Paul's a piece of shit. So yeah. And then they ask him if he is all about wrestlers joining a union and having a wrestler union. And he won't answer the question. So you hate Vince, you're against everything he does, you're against the way he runs his company, but because you're still looking for a job, you won't say anything about joining a union. So
he's a wackadoo. He needs to hit the bricks.
Nobody wants him.
I mean,
if
let's be honest.
Tony Khan wanted him, he would have had him by now.
I was going to say, let's be honest. He didn't catch an AEW contract. My God, I got one in the mail the other day. I threw it in the garbage. I said, I got shit to do.
Right. I think you and I could call up Joey Janela, and we could probably get a dark match.
So, all right. So, back to the ambulance match at hand. Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. I loved this.
It was great. I thought it was going to be a shit show. It's just a gimmicky gimmicky match, and I saw it being like another Randy Orton Edge brawl where it's just going to go way too long and be way too ugly. But these guys did great, man. They seem like they really hated each other.
Yeah, they can definitely put on the show and beat the hell out of each other. How did you feel about the gimmicky spots? I mean,
I get it, but come on, really. The believability was what was Big Show doing there,
and then
what
Christian.
was Christian doing there, what was Shawn Michaels doing there. This is a shitty middle of the month, middle of the year pay-per-view that means nothing.
Yeah, in the grand
and
scheme
you got
of things.
These huge legends just hanging out.
I mean, it does bring up, maybe it wraps up the story, is the only thing I can look at. They all were involved. You know, we'll jump to the end here. He defeated Randy Orton. And then all the people that Randy put down and RKO'd or punted in between all got their vengeance, and now maybe they're going to move on the storyline, and Randy's going to move on to something else.
Yeah, I could see that. Big Show showed up, not necessarily his physique, but his face, just King Kong Bundy right off the bat, with the cleanly shaved face and the cleanly shaved head. I'm like, oh my God, King Kong Bundy is risen from the grave,
Yes.
and he's made his way to the Clash of Champions.
Made his way in a Big Show mask. Yeah, he did look different. Definitely shaving the beard throws off the gimmick there. So,
Couple notes on this. This particular ambulance comes stocked with steel chairs and crutches. They just put them in the side door there.
crutches I'll buy, the steel chair.
Yeah, with a big cross on it too. We got to make sure it's an ambulance steel chair.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, I mean, it's got to be medical. You can't just be sitting down on anything.
My son, who's a cynical bastard like me, picked apart the whole door spot when I keep wanting to call him Drew Gulak.
Drew McIntyre.
When Drew McIntyre kicked the door off the ambulance, he's like, "Oh yeah, man, no wires to the speakers, no wires to the electrical equipment. Yeah, no bolts on that door either. He just kicked it right off, didn't he?"
Just kicks it right off.
It's wrestling.
Shut up. Let it go. Some things you just have to let go. Still impressive nonetheless. But there was the one spot, I think, when they didn't follow him down. I think it was Randy Orton that fell off the ambulance. They didn't follow him down, and I'm like, he landed on a crash pad. He took a dive. They crash padded him, rolled him off.
Was that when Shawn Michaels super kicked him?
Maybe that was the part I'm thinking about. And it was just like, get over those, because you're not going to be able to do them when the world eventually lets people back in to public.
Right, and I guess even though they are live and they're doing it with the virtual audience or whatever, they only see what we see, right?
Right. Yeah, they're just seeing what we're seeing. So there's no, like, you can cheat right in front of a video screen of some guy's face. It might feel like you're doing something wrong, but they don't see you. Feels like they're looking at you, but they don't see you. So I thought, I just kind of, those have been played out for me. This match went 20 minutes, and these guys were in the ring, out of the ring, in the ambulance, on the ambulance, backstage.
Through the ambulance, the windshield bump.
Through the windshield. Yep, had that windshield bump.
From AEW. Whatever. It was an ambulance match. I'm sure this match was planned ahead of time, and I'm sure they were going to put a windshield bump in there.
Oh, yeah.
But my son tried to pick that one apart. Yeah, so what do you think they he didn't use the word gimmick, but pretty much what he's getting at is, what do they gimmick the glass with? What do they use? And I'm like, no, man, it's real glass.
That one I'm not sure, like,
back.
Because like they never go like through it. It breaks like a windshield. If it broke like a front door, you know what I'm saying? Like and just
like sugar glass.
Right. But it doesn't. It breaks like a windshield. Maybe it's gimmick somehow. I'm not sure.
There's no blade
but
in your back. There's no way Randy put a blade in his finger tape and just sliced Drew up. You know. So yeah, I believe that was a real windshield, and it's like, holy smokes, Drew. Why are you taking windshield bumps, bro? You don't got to do that.
Take them windshield bumps. Ambulance match, WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre retains. This one's a go back and watch it. So if you didn't watch it, go back and watch it. This is one that drew me in. The ladder match drew me in. It wasn't because of the gimmicks. I'm not going with those gimmicks. I didn't mind the Bobby Lashley match. Street Profits was in the middle. The Asuka and Selena Vega out the door. So you had some good stuff in there. I like the Bayley and Sasha Banks beating on each other. Could have done without Asuka. So overall, I like this pay-per-view. I know we're not done yet. We still got a whole nother match, but this one's going to be interesting, I think. So majority of this, I'd say go back and watch it.
Yeah, it was better than expected. A mid-level pay-per-view, you don't expect much, and they delivered on it.
Right.
And in this match in particular, McIntyre not only won with the one single Claymore, but he put a punt on top of it too, just to accentuate, Randy, you're getting a taste of your own medicine there.
Yeah, kind of signed, sealed, delivered. I think we're going to see an end to this feud and move on to some new programs here. And then we move into the main event.
Now, this is where the disappointment sets in. I don't know. I understand their family, their cousins, and it's an easy way. It's a easy storyline to work out, But this was a squash match. It was a drawn out squash match. But nobody, not one single fan watching this, went into it thinking Jey Uso is going to come out the undisputed WWE champion. Not one.
Not one.
thought.
Jey Uso didn't think that.
Right. So yeah, this was a glorified squash match advertised as a pay-per-view main event. And that's where I was kind of just like, eh.
This one to me could have been an opening match.
I mean,
It would have been a
you
high
got
spot.
You got the biggest title in the company in it, so I understand you want to slap it at the end.
Yeah, but that's old school thinking, man. You could have put that match, you could have opened up with it. It wouldn't have been that weird because it was a squash match. Call it what it is. It was a squash. They did it with what was it with Rumble or whatever when they had the when Brock Lesnar came out and that's it, or WrestleMania that year, whatever. I can't remember which one it was. He's like, we're going on first. Yeah, WrestleMania. I'm sorry, we're going on first, and they went out there and had their match. They could have done this match first, or whatever. You just knew it. You just watched it. Like anybody could have guessed it. Your son who doesn't watch wrestling anymore and just barely hangs on as an outsider of it was looked at it and went, that ain't happening.
Yeah, so yeah, that was my main issue with it. I guess the only reason I'll give it main event status is because Vince has such a boner for Roman Reigns and just showing his pure dominance as the last match of the night and having that be your last shot of what you remember the pay-per-view of is Roman Reigns just completely dominating. It did the job it was supposed to do, but it was just a shitty way to get there.
Yeah. The whole it got long and boring in the same stuff over and over again.
It was very drawn out. They milked the family thing way too long. Just at the point of moving at a snail's pace where Roman just standing over Jey Uso.
Say I'm the head of the table. Say I'm the provider. It's like,
yeah, Paul, we've been doing this our entire lives. It's just every frickin' break in the match was 15 minutes long and had a goddamn promo in the middle of it of what goes on and what happens in the pig roasts in Hawaii and picking coconuts off the trees and
I thought it was
Jimmy
weird.
Snuka flying off Mount Helen and shit.
Mount Helen.
I don't need a whole Samoan heritage story for a wrestling match. Just whoop his ass and say you're a punk.
Well, how come we can never hear the in-ring talk so good any other time?
And them boys were mic'd up.
Yeah,
I don't know where the lapel mic was on Roman Reigns because he dropped his vest.
He was straight hot.
Yeah, hot mics all the way.
And then then Paul trying to get it. You're the chief. You're the head chief, and he's like, I don't want to hear it from you. It's like it had a Brock Lesnar feel to it, where even Paul couldn't get him to stop. But finally, when Jimmy came down, you knew, okay, this thing's got to be about a rap.
Yeah, I was glad they didn't do the towel thing right away because that would have been an abrupt end and just a shitty end. I'm glad they drew that out a little bit.
Right. That did get drawn out a little bit, but we could have cut some of the fat in between that part happening and gone from there.
Seems like WWE just really wanted this pay-per-view to be 3 hours.
Do you think they're just stretching for it? Like, go for it. Give them 3 hours.
I think people were probably complaining. Not me. I think if you can fit all the content of this pay-per-view into 90 minutes, give it to me. That way I'll be on the edge of my seat. But I imagine there's some fans out there who's like, oh, WWE's losing it. They used to do 3-hour pay-per-views, and now they're doing 2 hours.
Oh, all the
it's
in-your
just
houses.
an episode of Raw, blah, blah, blah. So I that's just my personal opinion. I think they drew this thing out.
All the in-your-houses back in the day were 2 hours, but those people can eat it. I get sick of it. Man, some of those, like WrestleManias and those, when between the pre-show and the whole show, and you're sitting there going, "This bitch been on for like 6.5 hours." I lost.
Well, shit. I don't know if it was. I think it was 2019's WrestleMania. Just the main show was 5 hours.
That's what I'm saying. Then you throw like a 3-hour pre-show with matches sprinkled in there. You're going, come on. I'm going to, take a day off work here to get this thing done. So Roman Reigns defeats Jey Uso in what they're calling here a technical knockout. Jimmy threw in the towel, so I guess that gives it a whatever.
Yeah, and your parting words are Jimmy holding his limp brother's body, and just screaming to Roman, "You the chief.
You the chief.
You got what you want. You the chief."
Do you think he's going to get them the flip and be, because he's a heel now, right? Roman's a heel.
Right.
So do you think he's going to get him to be a heel? That was kind of like the baby face.
No, I think they're going to draw this rivalry out. That's just what I'm thinking. Because Jimmy and Jay, I don't know. After that ass whooping, it seems like there'd be way too much animosity to be able to flip them anytime soon.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what
this is WWE we're talking about, though. They might flip tomorrow.
They might flip tomorrow. I don't know what they're doing. None of it. I didn't care for it. I wasn't vested in it by any means. Going, okay, Jey Uso is fighting Roman Reigns. Thought it was cool to see Jey Uso get a main event spot. Like, good for him.
Yeah, he's a good worker for sure, but nobody was buying into him actually having a chance.
Yeah, nobody cared. So that's your Clash of Champions tear apart there. I'd give it a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. If you were gonna ask me, I'd say go back and watch it. Maybe a 6, 6.5, 7, somewhere in there. It wasn't complete garbage. I wasn't completely mad I watched it. I didn't feel I wasted my time, but there were some spots that's like, could have dealt without that.
Definitely just keep your finger near the fast forward button. Condense this thing down to about an hour, skip through the horse shit, and you had a good pay-per-view on your hands. I'd say above average overall since I was forced to watch all 3 hours of it. And 6. Give it a 6.
6. He gives it a 6, people. We're going to dive in and talk about Dynamite for a minute and then call this a week.
Sure. We can do a little chatty chat on Dynamite. This is another thing. I'm flying off the cuff here. This was an idea put together between my son and I throughout the week. My son is 17 years old. He hasn't watched wrestling on a daily basis since he was probably 5, maybe 6 years old. Back when John Cena was in his heyday.
Yeah. Winning Royal Rumbles.
He's peeped in on me watching AEW Dynamite here and there, and he's just like, what is this? So my new thing that I'm going to try, I am going to have him watch an entire episode of AEW Dynamite with his laptop on his lap and take notes. And I want to know what a non-wrestling fan thinks, a former wrestling fan, a childhood wrestling fan turned non-wrestling fan whatsoever thinks of AEW Dynamite. This is a genuine curiosity of mine. And he warned me there's going to be some NSFW language in this thing, and I'm like, whatever, I'll let it slide.
Fuck am I watching? That'll be interesting. We had to set up make that some type of content. We might do some type of video or have a watch along with Aiden. And
yeah, there we go. We could do a definite watch along with him.
Oh, what am I watching?
Zoom.
Oh, what am I watching? All right, so kicking off AEW this week on September 30th, as we are in the first weeks of October now. Darby Allin, Ricky Starks starts us off. Is that where we're starting here?
Yeah, that's where we're starting. Ricky Starks versus Darby. I wasn't too mad at this match. These guys are even size, even talent levels.
So this is somebody that when they sell for Darby Allin makes sense to you.
Right, exactly. This isn't Lance Archer selling for Darby Allin Enziguri or whatever, or taking a Canadian destroyer from Marco Stunt.
Yeah.
This was a believable match, and they didn't do way too many high flying things. They do still overcomplicate some simple moves, such as a stunner. It has to be off the middle rope and 3 cartwheels and a Superman dive and under the ring and come back up and finish the stunner. It's a lot of the shit could be broken down to be a little more simple.
I was happy that Darby Allin didn't do 1,000 or even whatever. He didn't do a lot of his wacky spots. There wasn't a lot of Darby Allinisms in this match. It was a Darby Allin match, but he didn't have to wrap himself up in duct tape and dive
Throw
into
himself off the Empire State Building.
and you know what I'm saying, to do all this and go through all this weird gimmicks. So you had a Will Hobbs run in with when Brian Cage tried to come out. So they're still working that
I was
angle.
going to bring that up. Brian Cage did come out and try and pull his heel shenanigans, and Will Hobbs came out and stopped him. I was a little surprised by the Will Hobbs run in. I was really expecting a run in from Tessa Blanchard to come in and just beat Brian Cage clean. But we got Will Hobbs instead, and he took care of Brian Cage rather quickly. And Darby Allin wrapped up the match from there and ended up winning with a coffin drop.
There it is, people. There's your weekly dig at Brian Cage. Will Hobbs runs in, ends that, and then they go back fighting into the back, and then they continue on with the match. So I was glad that the run-in was minimal at best. It was just like, hey, don't forget I do exist. Brian Cage got to come out.
Right. They didn't need to remind us. He hasn't been on in a week or two.
He gets lost. He only has pants. Pants and no shirt.
He's just wandering around a junkyard somewhere.
So then Darby Allin defeats Ricky Starks. Took about 10 minutes. I would say this was a pretty damn good match. Let me see, what other notes do they have on this? I think it's about it. So that, and then I believe after this we learn that we're getting Will Hobbs and Brian Cage next week. That pop up somewhere in there?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't catch that, but I'm
pretty
assuming
sure it
that's
was
true.
I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere. We'll just continue on and say
Tony
it was.
Khan just seems to make up matches within 30 seconds of people running into each other.
Those guys pass each other in the hallway. Sign them!
If I bump into you and spill my beer, it's like, oh yeah, they got a match next week.
They got a match! Sign them! Or as they call him, TK. We'll talk about that promo later. Where we at now?
Right, Cody's promo.
Oh, yeah, Cody's promo. So, what do you think about Cody's promo?
The old dark-haired EVP coming out there. And, man, he seemed to really get a lot of words out of a possible 30-second promo there.
Yeah. The one thing I did not like about this promo is the fact that he talks about how he got beat up, which is fine. Talk about how he got beat up. But he goes, I got beat up in 3 minutes, and then I found myself getting a phone call from the 323 or whatever he said, Hollywood. So it's like you drop the title to go tape that show.
Right. That's
You can't, like, I mean, I know because we saw that he was on the show, but you don't, you know what I'm saying?
Right. He just puts it out there, and it's like, whatever.
I know it's a cheesy thing to be like, bam, but that was like a red light for me. Bam. Like, okay, just move past it.
Right. You don't even got to mention it. But as executive vice president, Cody could not possibly accept a match as gruesome as a dog collar match, but with Brody Lee. So he says no, and then he changes it to no regrets. Or no regrets, as I like to, from one of my favorite memes on the internet.
Regrets. My answer is no. And then he stops. He turns around. No, as in no regrets.
And he accepts the match.
Trying to get another job from Hollywood. Showing his acting chops.
Yeah. And then, he accepts the challenge. Brody Lee comes out in his beautiful suit. That suit was hideous.
Looked like a couch. Nice suit. Who shot the couch?
Attacks Cody, turns into a giant brawl. Everybody and their mother comes out. And this is another one. Seemed like they were trying to fill up 2 hours. God, that brawl went on little too long for my liking.
A little. That fall went on too
Just a
long,
tad.
period. That's the end of statement, 100%. That went on too long. It was just, then the girls were getting involved, but nobody was breaking them up. So Brandy Rhodes is fighting. Nyla Rose jumps over the barricade.
Yeah,
Like-
Anna Jay and the commentators are trying to, get Anna Jay over and whatever, man. Just give her a match.
I don't, just let 'em, I don't know what to tell you. Let them wrestle.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus. What do we-
Having 58 people out there and then trying to focus on one of them ain't going to do a damn thing.
No, I didn't care for that at all. What they should have done, they could have done that, but just went, we got to go to break. Hopefully we get this cleaned up. And they can come
There
back
you
and it's
go.
over. All right, everybody back to your spots. But, man, like, Brody Lee ran in, 3 times after he was in the back?
Yeah.
But why would the Dark Order try and pull him away? They're the Dark Order. Like, I get why Billy Gunn and Austin Gunn would try to help and keep Cody back. Hey, stay back, stay back. Get away. But why wouldn't you and your goons go, I don't know. It was just weird. Anyways.
There's no explaining this.
There's no explaining this.
This
we
is
could just-
AEW. There's no sense in trying to make it make sense. It's word salad. It's
Word salad. All right. Well, I guess we'll word salad on to the next thing here. Get a little backstage segment. Didn't Tony Schiavone catch a super kick?
Yeah, I missed the backstage segment.
Tony
So,
Schiavone catches a super kick backstage. All right.
from the Young Bucks, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the super kick partiers.
So then you get FTR coming out with Tully and Scorpio Sky, Frankie Kazarian with Christopher Daniels for the AEW Tag Team titles.
In the match known as the 20-minute brush with greatness, because we need to make it a big deal that we're putting a 20-minute time limit on this match.
20-minute time limit from the Dapper Yapper himself. Yes. Where
But
we
yeah,
at? SCU. Yeah, I mean, I love, SCU's great. Great tag team. FTR, good tag team. I think these two worked well together and had a very entertaining match.
This is one that I can't complain about because these two teams are so well matched up, and both teams are just so smart and so experienced. They just work fantastic with each other. This is another one where you got to see a lot of strength, a lot of athleticism, a lot of strategy behind their moves, and they both work like main event tag teams.
Right. The only thing that I didn't care for, or I didn't see where it fit in, was sending Christopher Daniels away. The whole trip gimmick.
Yeah, I think it was just an overdue of haha, we're bad guys, we cheat. It just kind of played into Tully cheating to help him win later on.
Right. I guess that was the thing that I was going to say. I guess they did use that, so they got him out. Because he didn't, I'm going to be honest with you, he didn't trip him, did he?
No, he didn't trip him.
That's
at
what I'm saying.
all.
Like, but it happened so fast and smooth that even as a a bystander with TV and replay, I'm like, he threw his own trip, so it looked like Daniels did that, and then get him the boot.
it was a forced cheat, if
Yeah.
you will. So yeah, but again, we're talking about AEW. They overdo things, force things. Yeah, I had to watch it twice because the camera cut so hard, so fast. It was just
Son of a bitch, they did it right.
right. So, yeah, there wasn't too much complaining about this one. This was one where SCU, you got FTR, they've had the belts long enough in the AEW world to where they could possibly lose them. And a real wrestling organization, FTR is going to hold these belts for another 20, 30 weeks at least. But in AEW, they could more than likely lose the belts at any time. So SCU got a lot of close calls, a lot of close 1-2s, 2.5s, and they were believable. I was thinking, holy shit, they're going to take the straps off FTR.
Yeah, I don't think they're quite ready for that yet, but there was a team that took FTR to the limits and made you believe it. So we can continue on here. Go back and watch that one.
But anyway, FTR ends up winning, and their method of winning was cheating, with Tully holding down Scorpio Sky's leg so he could not kick out of the pin.
Yeah. I like the dirty wins. I don't mind those. But,
It's just overdone.
we saw it last week. We saw it this week. I think they just need to let it go for a while and let people know that it's in the holster and they will do what needs to be done to win. That's fine to me. But it doesn't need to be every week.
I guess the way I'm seeing it is there's ingredients to being a heel. There's cheating, there's promos, there's attitude. There's a lot of ingredients to being a heel, and AEW just seems to say, well, we'll just throw in a ton of this ingredient. You know what I'm saying? It's like making chicken soup,
Yeah.
but putting a teaspoon of chicken broth, 12 noodles, an ounce of chicken, and then a whole bag of carrots. And
Just-
like, yeah, this is chicken soup.
It's pretty good.
Like, no, this is carrot soup.
Carrot soup. But I just think they need to tone or take a step back on that. I get that you need to cheat as a heel, or that's the idea, but every week if you're just cheating, it's like, well, then you're a shitty champion.
Right. If you can't win any match clean,
Then
I wanted to do another Tessa Blanchard thing, but I'm not gonna pull an AEW and just overdo it.
Speaking of overdoing it, so do you got anything else on this one here?
Not really, just fantastic match. Maybe a little overdoing of the cheating, but I'm glad that FTR retained the championship.
Yes, they do. Excalibur announced an 8-man single elimination tournament with the winner getting a shot at the AEW championship at Full Gear pay-per-view. Jungle Boy, Ray Phoenix, Kenny Omega, Page nearly choked on his drink. I gotta go, and then as he's quoted for, then he took off. So
Yeah, Hangman was a little upset. Kenny Omega announces himself as the first entrant in this tournament and did not consult with his tag team partner.
dun, 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 dun. Think he's
So
gonna
yeah, just another inch of the wedge being driven between these two.
he's gonna enter in, and they're gonna face each other. That's my call. We'll move along here and go towards. We got Private Party. Is it Private Party? Matt Hardy made an entrance, right? Chris
Jericho versus Isaiah Cassidy.
Right, yeah. So you got Private Party coming out with Matt Hardy.
Party
Hardy. So you got Jericho, hour 2, kicking it off. Jericho with Santana, Ortiz, Hager, the whole thing. Sammy Guevara taking on Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, and Matt Hardy. What'd you think?
Just more of the same shit with Jericho.
Yeah.
He loves him some Cassidy brothers, and
Cassidy,
he's going to do
Cassidy.
anything he can to get anybody with the last name Cassidy over, whether it's Isaiah Cassidy, Orange Cassidy, Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid. He wants to get them all over. Doesn't matter how skinny and weak and feeble they are. Chris Jericho is going to bump for him like he's the fucking Midnight Express and flip and flop all over the ring. And I don't know. It was what it was.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed either. And then the whole going over the barricade gimmick, and then him getting involved with the heck's Luther, that big.
Yeah, what
goofy,
the hell, man? Like,
and then
what the hell's Luther got to do with anything?
I don't know. I don't even know where Luther wrestles. Does he wrestle even in Dark? I haven't even seen. He just stands around.
I haven't seen any of his matches. I think he was on Dark this week.
He's collecting a paycheck, I guess. God bless him. He's getting the best. He got the best job in the house. He gets paid and don't have to work.
He's like a backup kicker on a football team.
Yeah, just hangs out and does nothing. I thought the same thing. This match, it's a tag team. You split a tag team up to go face a singles guy. None of it made sense. It didn't matter. Why do I care if Jericho does or doesn't beat this guy up? What does it help with Isaiah Cassidy being a tag team wrestler? What does it change?
In a normal world, this would be another one where you go into it thinking there's no way Jericho's going to lose, but he lost clean to Orange Cassidy.
Right.
We find out later that, as I said last week, that AEW as a company, Tony Khan in particular, think Orange Cassidy is their biggest star. But I guess my point is, if Jericho's going to lose clean to Orange Cassidy, I wouldn't put it beyond believable that he could lose clean to Isaiah Cassidy.
Oh, I mean, at this point, the unexpected is expected. As soon as I think they won't do that, son of a bitch, they will. What? I guess we kind of skipped over it. Well, I got a thing to bring up here in just a moment. So, anything else about this, or just skip right to the end here?
No, just
Jericho pins Cassidy. There you go. What? My thing that I just clicked in my head that I remembered was the backstage segment. Oh, maybe it hasn't happened yet. My bad. Let it keep going here. All right, where are we at next? What's the next thing we got going on here? Oh yeah, the Inner Circle runs in. They put the boots to Cassidy. Blah blah blah. They fight them off. Luther and Serpentico. They get trading punches with Jericho, and so then you get a tag team match coming out of that. Anything else fun happen in between here? You got backstage segment or anything? Sabian, bachelor party, playing at video games, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, the stupid Billy Mitchell from King of Kong showed up at the backstage promo with Miro and Kip Sabian playing video games, talking about the being the best man. I go, it's Billy Mitchell from King of Kong, that stupid documentary on Netflix about being the best Donkey Kong player. You guy's a weirdo. Just keep moving down the line here. Orange Cassidy with Trent and Chuck.
Preston Vance, a.k.a. number 10.
Is that who number 10 is? Then you got John Silver and Colt Cabana on the outside, number 5. There you go.
So, yeah, this is exactly what I spoke of in the last match, where AEW is using Orange Cassidy as if he is a top babyface.
I don't think they're using him as if he's a top babyface.
He is the top babyface?
I think you can take the as if out.
Yeah. Take the F out, man.
Take the F out.
The as if out. This is exactly the type of match that a singles Kenny Omega would do, or that Cody Rhodes was doing, where we feel that you have such star power, Orange Cassidy, that you going in there and giving Preston Vance a good competitive match is going to be enough to get Preston Vance over. Because I believe that was the goal in this match. They really love the Dark Order, and they want to get Long John Silver over. They want to get number 10 Preston Vance over. They want to get Evil Uno over. So they're really working hard to get the members of the Dark Order over as individuals. They used Orange Cassidy as a top guy to get number 10 over.
Yeah. I love how you've got Long John Silver now. But you've given Evil Uno his name back because he's impressed you a couple times here, and he's lost some weight and he's moving around good. He's not Pizzeria Uno anymore.
He's going to be draw 4 Uno in a minute.
Just Uno. So anyways, yeah, this was a squashy type match, but to help build somebody and use Orange Cassidy's fame to rub on him and to, kind of put him over. It was interesting enough as it was. I didn't care for it. It happened, and what are you going to do? What did you think about I don't remember where it happened, so I think it happened up just in front of this, and it did here. I'm looking at my notes here. When they FTR kind of was talking shit to the Best Friends just before this.
Yeah, I might have fast forwarded.
Oh, they call them. So was it? They were backstage. FTR shows up, and then said their spot for the main event, or there's a spot in the main event for them. There's not a spot in the main event for them. It's in the middle. The Best Friends are glorified backyard wrestlers at best. Just really ragging on them. Just really calling them pieces of shit.
I got to go back and watch that.
Really just calls them pieces of shit. But at the very end of it, they made FTR flinch, the best friends,
They being the best friends.
and Cassidy. And then
okay.
Cassidy just says, weenies.
Now I got to go back and watch it.
Yeah, it was a quick little segment, and I remembered it in the middle of the last thing, and I was going to bring it up, and I forgot that it happened, just before this match is where it was at. So they just come out, but it was interesting enough. They really shit on him. What?
Where did the Jericho MJF promo happen?
And then
that
was just coming up here. Yeah, this is yeah. They go backstage. They go back in the locker room there, and they go to get. And then MJF brings some gifts
with Wardlow.
Ward Dog. He brings the gifts back for the Inner Circle, and he's got nice Inner Circle satin jackets for everybody, but Sammy Guevara.
Oh, somehow Sammy got left out of the mix, and MJF kind of blames it on Wardlow there, gives him a look like, how could you do this?
How could you do this? So I don't know if they're trying to building towards, and again, normally you should be able to guess and say, well, they're building towards a gimmick in a feud, in a program, or whatever you want to call it, with MJF and Sammy Guevara. But this is AEW.
Who knows?
This whole segment may not exist next week.
They could probably. This might be building a segment between Jake Hager and Wardlow, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Because Jake Hager runs a screen printing company on the side, and he didn't print Sammy Guevara's shirt that Wardlow ordered. It won't make any sense. It doesn't need to make any sense at the end of the day. I've let go that it should make sense. They get around and hint around that is he trying to join the Inner Circle? And then they do the old who's on first, what's on second gimmick there, like some Laurel and Hardy skit where it's, do you want me to join the Inner Circle? No. Do you want to join the Inner Circle, MJF? No, Chris. Do you want me to join? Okay. 2 times was funny. The 6th time I wanted to shoot myself.
I would shoot myself if MJF joined the Inner Circle. I would be more apt to believe back in when they were trying to get Moxley to join. I actually bit for that one. I was thinking maybe Moxley could join. This would be a super group, But no, I don't want MJF and Jericho in the same faction.
No, I think MJF needs to be the head of his faction.
Whatever he does, yeah.
We'll just do whatever. Yeah, his faction, his group, his wolf pack, he called it. He needs to be the guy involved with that. So we will see. Read somewhere online, there was to somebody making a thing that said, I continue to wonder if MJF will ultimately replace Jericho as a leader of the Inner Circle, which would free Jericho up for a babyface run. That was a gentleman I was reading over there on ProWrestling.net. Made that little statement. Interesting enough fact, something to think about. MJF could chase Jericho out of the Inner Circle, turn Jericho babyface, and they could do something that way. Who knows?
Crazier things have happened, Brian.
It's not the worst idea I've heard.
Right.
Britt Baker with Reba taking on Red Velvet.
And I didn't really watch it.
Britt Baker wins.
Britt Baker wins, and she's the real role model.
Yeah. And there you go. We'll just move on. Don't really care. I didn't care about that match. Call me a terrible wrestling watcher, but what are you going to do? Didn't care.
Eddie Kingston cut his promo.
Yeah, I was going to say
just as you predicted, Brian, Nostradamus yourself, Eddie Kingston did not tap.
Eddie Kingston did not tap. I did not lose. I did not get eliminated from the Battle Royal. Look up the rules. And he brings out the referee there, starts giving him a hard time, saying that the ref was saying you were unresponsive. That's why I had to break it up. And there you go. And then looks like he's going to beat him up. And then Moxley's music hits.
Yeah, it was a little surprising to see the ref cutting one of the better promos on this show. But yeah, it's AEW. You expect the unexpected. But so we get Jon Moxley with a opponent of Eddie Kingston's choosing, and it happens to be the Butcher.
The Butcher. Yeah. The Butcher came in again. Ain't shit happening. Nothing against the Butcher. Whatever on that.
To beat Moxley,
But it didn't matter who it was. At this time left, 5 minutes, 10 minutes they gave him for the match. Whatever. It looked like it was closer to 15 minutes. But anyways, the time that they give him for the match, the very end of the show, they didn't build up towards any of this of who was going to be they could have called anybody in. They could have called Chris Jericho in, and I'm going, Jericho's not going to beat him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there was no build up to the anticipation of who it was going to be. So,
but especially not Butcher. Butcher's a tag team guy.
Especially not Butcher, but no matter who it was, I didn't buy it. And then they picked half of a tag team guy, and I said, ain't happening.
Right. So this was another one where you just spent the match wondering, I was going to say wondering how Mox is going to win. But if you got half a brain in your head, Mox was going to win the same way he beat Kingston. And lo and behold.
Yeah, choke out Bulldog or whatever they call it. And his Bulldog choke with a submission win. Jon Moxley defeats the Butcher. Retains his AEW championship. Next week, you get, where'd it go in my notes here? I just saw it. Anyways, for the you get, I can't believe I just lost my spot here on all my writing. Anyways, you do get the FTW championship. Will Hobbs, Brian Cage. You get Luther and Serpentico taking on Hager and Jericho. So those matches were announced. But that FTW championship on the line for the first time, I think. So whatever the fuck that's worth. I was so excited to see that. I marked out like a son of a bitch, and then they just forgot about it for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think they would do better off. Well, I was gonna say with a cruiserweight championship, but everybody in AEW is a cruiserweight pretty much.
Hey, last year the Bucks went to 206 or whatever it was 2 years ago, so they could be not junior championship in New Japan. So that was your AEW
Dynamite.
AEW Dynamite recap. All in all, the show wasn't terrible. I wasn't too mad. There's a few, loose ends. Eddie Kingston coming out, cutting his promo, working with the referee was funny. Whoever he was talking shit about backstage, calling Tony Khan TK, and then throwing the wink at the camera there. Eddie Kingston's money talking. So he comes out of the microphone. I'm listening, and I'm happy. The Jon Moxley Butcher thing, again, some of this goofy shit. But, we just talked about WWE. The goofy shit didn't stop over there either, so we're getting goofy shit on either side, so you can't be too mad or too disappointed either way because it's just going to show up, I guess. That's the way it's going to go.
Right. One of the things we got to do after watching all this goofy shit, I've been hearing a little whisper here and there about Ring of Honor lately. I don't know if I have the ability to watch it. I don't know if it's online. I don't know if, it's on any type of network TV or anything like that.
Yeah, you can watch their weekly TV show comes out on Fight for free.
Oh, okay.
And you can get their little weekly hour TV show. They're usually taped they'll tape like a 6-hour, 5-hour show or something. I don't know how they're doing it now with no audience, but they would go set up spot at whatever, at the Detroit State Fairgrounds and run a 5-hour show and break it up into 5 episodes is how that would be done back, previously. So now they get little hour plugins on Fight TV. I was really into ROH for a while, and then the pandemic did not help me out on the ROH, but I was watching the ROH and the NWA. They're trying to bring NWA back. They're starting to do pay-per-views. I filled out a little survey for the NWA for their thing about watching Power and watching their pay-per-views, and so hopefully that gets relaunched, so you got another aspect. But what was your idea with Ring of Honor? Just watching it and talking about it?
The murmur around the gates with Ring of Honor is they're trying a whole new approach. They announced a pure title tournament or something to that effect, and you remember when AEW was starting and they were saying that they are going to have more of a sports feel with real analytics and real
the win-loss records,
statistics and stuff like that. Well, Ring of Honor has been taking that to a whole new level. They're announcing during the match, before the match, they're doing a tail of the tape with real statistics. They're doing such as so and so is 7-2 against wrestler B.
Wrestler B.
So they're doing real statistics rather than AEW saying Orange Cassidy had chocolate chip pancakes this morning for breakfast, or AEW just puts out some silly ass fucking statistics that nobody cares about. And what Ring of Honor, from what I hear, I haven't watched it yet, they're putting out the type of statistics that you would hear in a football game. And also, I guess the wrestling's kind of been on point. So I definitely might take an hour out of my week and check out the latest episode of Ring of Honor. Maybe you should do the same, and we can chat about that next week.
I think we'll have to change it up. Our Ring of Honor, get on Fight TV, watch some Ring of Honor. I might go back and watch a couple episodes just to get caught up on the vibe of things. But I was digging Ring of Honor for a while. But the loss...
It's only an hour-long show.
Right. And then the loss of a lot of the guys and the kickoff of AEW did not help me in my Ring of Honor watching because, that was where I got my Cody and the Bucks. And that was where you got Hangman. And that was where I got to see SCU. And that was where I got to see... I mean, they just went and raped and pillaged and turned ROH into AEW. So I'm not sure, I have to rebuild a whole new love for the guys over there. But what the hell? It's worth a shot. I love wrestling.
Yeah, don't go over there expecting the world of talent, because pretty much one of your top guys over there is Finley's son. So
hey, he's pretty good. I've been watching him in New Japan for like 2-3 years now, and he's good. So you can keep an eye on him. I'll fight for him. Anything else before we get out of here, Eric? One down the line. We'll go through the social media plugs and call it a night.
Yeah, one more time. You can check us out on YouTube. Just search the KayFabe Smark. You can catch us on TikTok, also the KayFabe Smark. Facebook, KayFabe Smark.
The KayFabe Smark group on Facebook. You can get on Instagram, the KayFabe Smark. We kept it easy for you people.
And I still haven't started the Twitter, but I'm sure the KayFabe Smark will be available. And so you'll be able to catch me on Twitter.
And then
KayFabe Smark.
Go to anchor.fm/the KayFabe Smark and go ahead and leave us a rant, a voicemail, a joke, whatever you want to do. You can also listen to the show over there, and then you can listen on all other platforms. Not sure where you're listening to this, but you can get on Spotify, iTunes, Google, all that stuff. Give us a subscribe on wherever you're listening to it at. Give it a like and or whatever it is over there, and leave a review and give it a rating of some kind, and help us out, man. Help us out. Same thing over on YouTube. Give it a like, hit the little bell, give it the notification, do all that fun stuff. We're here talking wrestling, having fun. And then, Eric, where can they catch you at if you want to plug that stuff out?
For my personal plugs, you can catch me on Instagram. My name on Instagram is it's Eric. That's all one word. So if you want to go on there and follow me there, talk shit there, like, comment, subscribe over there, feel free. Also on TikTok, it's just me and my chubby pit bull Stella. You can catch us on TikTok doing our goofy retarded videos at stella.hates.eric.
And then one more time, go over to audibletrial.com/thekayfabesmark. Get yourself a free audiobook, free 30-day trial, and enjoy some wrestling content. Listen to the podcast about the dark web. And that's that, man. That's all I got. So until next week.
Hooty hoo. We out the gates.
We are out the gates.